Hi everyone, I'm so pleased to be here today with Hostel Rooms doing a tutorial for you. So I'm Laura G and I paint abstract paintings inspired by gardens, landscapes and flowers. A lot of my work includes the mark making technique, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm inspired by little moments of joy in day-to-day life. It might be leaves coming down from the sky, from the trees, it could be sunlight hitting grass, very simple small moments. So today what we're going to do is we're going to use this technique, mark making, and create our own abstract garden. So we'll start off first. I'm just going to show you what we're working towards. We're going to start making some mark making pieces, and then we're going to start to add in some colour and create some more floral inspired pieces. And then we're going to work towards our own garden piece. So it's quite a lot we can do with just mark making today in colours, and that's what we're going to start doing now. So I'm just going to show you the materials that we need for today. So for our materials, we need an A4 piece of paper, some paint brushes, a water container to clean our paint brushes. Okay, so we have our paper, our paint brushes and water, and we're going to start off by creating some marks. So just like I showed you before, we're being inspired by the garden. So we're going to use a lot of green to start off with. So you might already have the green paint ready. If you don't, you can use, I'll show you, you can use yellow and some blue and mix that together. You get a lovely dark green there, or you add more yellow to make it lighter and white. So it doesn't matter what size paintbrush you have. This is quite a small paintbrush, or you can use a larger paintbrush. What we're going to do is start just simply pressing down on our paintbrush and seeing what marks we can create. So we really want to use our paintbrush in a variety of ways. We do on top like this, and just we're playing with the paintbrush for like 5 minutes, if that. We're just really getting used to what marks and shapes we can make using the colour green. So you have a bigger paintbrush. You're doing the same thing using the paintbrush to make marks. So you can use the top of it like this. I don't know if you can see, kind of as if it's walking. We can make it flat like this. And we can twist the paintbrush. So you can see that this is a bit more water here, and this has got more solid. So that depends how much paint and water you put onto your paintbrush. So we're just playing now with marks. And while we're doing this, we can be thinking of, say, leaves falling from the trees, like in autumn. We could think about plants in the background, so like ferns. We're just building up a library of marks. And it's important to wash our brushes. And we can dab it with some paper to clean it if there's too much on there. Perhaps you can use another type of green, so for mixing some green. Adding some white. Doesn't matter what colour greens you have, we're just playing with the different shades. And what we're doing here is we're repeating marks. So we can even go faster and see what marks appear. go very slowly, barely touching the paper. You can go heavily like this, or lightly. So I'm working quite quickly, and the idea is for you to fill up as much of this paper as you can, going quickly and slowly, going light and heavy. Just play with your paintbrush, whatever size you have. You can see here when it dries, you have a lovely variety of different shapes. Some could be lines, some drier brush marks here where there's less water. And here you can see the kind of lines of the paintbrush. So even though it might feel or look a little bit rough when you're painting, what we're doing is creating a library of marks. Hope everyone's enjoying this. I find it relaxing just to actually kind of forget what's going on and keep repeating the marks. And the idea of this is to create your own marks. It's not going to look like mine. Everyone's going to look very different. And we're just referencing plants and leaves for this part. Okay, so I think about 30 more seconds on this, and then we'll move on to the next part. You can even really layer the different marks. Okay, so already in a few minutes we have quite a lot of different marks that evoke the feeling of leaves and plants. And this layering technique is what we're going to use to create our abstract garden as well. And I love these elements here where the brush marks are really vivid. You can see all the different marks coming through. So we're going to leave this to one side for a second, and we can come back to this. And we're going to reference these marks when we create our garden painting. You can see here how it translates into a garden painting. So I'm going to put that here. So next we're going to take another piece of paper, A4 piece of paper, and we're actually going to create the background for our piece, and we're going to leave that to dry. So what we're going to make now is a wash. So you can see the whole page is covered in green. So we're going to create a wash using, so if you have a bigger paintbrush, that's easier. For example, this size, or your biggest paintbrush. If you have a small paintbrush, that's absolutely fine. I'll show you what to do. So you're going to get your paintbrush, whatever size you have, and really get it nice and wet with water. And you're going to take the green colour. So you might already have the green paint or one mixed up. Now we're going to put the green onto the paintbrush, and we're just going to, it's like we're drying paintbrush actually. We're going to add water onto our paper and start to add in a little bit of paint. So what we want is this to be quite watery, quite wet. So you can start with lots of water on the paper, a little bit of green like this. So it's mainly water rather than paint on our paintbrush. If you have put a lot of paint on to start, say it's like this, and it feels a bit heavy, you can add more water to our paintbrush and just spread that out. All different directions, it doesn't matter what direction it is, we want a lovely textured background here, and you can see how it dries. So if you have a bigger paintbrush, you can also create your background like so, really thinning the sides. Lovely. Okay. I hope everyone's got that. Don't worry too much about it. We're going to go back to this in a little while. So I'm going to pop this over here to dry. So it'll be ready, nice and dry to start our final painting. So I'm going to pop this over here.
So Laura, just so you know, we are now 2:20. So this is all looking really lovely. And everybody watching, don't forget to tell us where you are and how you're getting on, and any questions for Laura if you'd like to ask any.
Yes, please ask me questions. I want to know how you're getting on. Hope this is relaxing. So we're going to now be creating, a bit like earlier with the marks here, we're now going to be using colour to create some floral shapes. So we really need to wash out our paintbrush. You might have another container of water. If not, just dab your paintbrush. Okay. So we can use red and yellow and blue, the primary colours, with a bit of white as well. So I'm going to add some pinks. I'm making red and white. Whatever colour paint you have is perfect for this. So I'm using a paintbrush. So whatever size paintbrush you have, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're thinking about flowers. So you can see here, this is maybe referencing bluebells and foxgloves and dahlias. Maybe you want to do a daisy or a rose. So I'm going to use the side of the paintbrush again. And this time you can see, maybe I'll show a bit closer to the camera. When you do this with a bit of colour, it kind of adds more like a petal shape. And it feels a bit more like a petal, especially add more water. That's a really lovely and gentle way of creating these floral marks. Now I can make a shape. Say for a tulip, I've done a big U, upside down U. We're filling this in. So we're using our paintbrush. We're going to make some different colours as well. I think about petals for flowers, and think about making the flower into abstract shapes. So quite simple shapes. And this is like the petals here, and then we can use a darker colour, say a blue or a green in the middle. So I'm showing you different flowers you could create. I want you to also create your own flowers. It can be more abstract, like a rose, and work a squiggle. I'm going to use a different size paintbrush now. Maybe use a bit of blue to create this idea of bluebells. So can you see that I'm moving it? I'm thinking of like the movement. Imagine bluebells in the wind. Very simple marks. That's what we're measuring. And it's the repetition of this which can create a whole sea of bluebells in our garden, like here. So play with the different colours. Maybe you want to create a yellow kind of dahlia. So we're using the tip of our paintbrush for this. So doing long stems. This is a piece of paper to experiment and play with and see what comes through. You can add different yellows. So don't be too precious about it. We're just experimenting, seeing what floral shapes we like. You can add in centre. I'm going to create some foxgloves, which is this middle flower. So it's a similar technique, using the shape of your paintbrush and this cascading flower. So by repeating quite simple shapes, we're suggesting different flowers to put into our garden. So we're going to spend a couple more minutes doing this. If you have any questions, please let me know. This is your time to play and experiment with the floral shapes.
They're looking really, really beautiful. We've got some lovely participants saying hello. So hello to Famida and everyone at Lavender Ward. It's really lovely to have you back. And hello to Wakefield Unit in Northampton. Hello and welcome. I hope you're enjoying the session. Please do tell us where you are. We'd love to hear. And if you have any questions for Laura at all, that would be very lovely.
After you've done some of these flower heads, you can also add in some stems, which will connect some of the flowers. So no matter what shape you've got, I'm going to get now a little bit of green on my paintbrush, and I'm simply going to add in some curly stems. And then already we're starting to get a bit more of a garden, and you can add in some leaves here for the rose. A good tip as well is if you're doing a floral head like this, a flower head, to leave it to dry before adding in your centre bit so it doesn't get too muddy. So say you've done these dahlias, for example, or a different flower, you then go back in with a darker colour, just a little dot, and that really makes that pop. You can add in any flower or colour you want. We're expressing, so we can express the colours that make you feel happy, use colours that you love. Okay, how are we doing? I think
we're coming up to nearly 2:30.
Okay, amazing. So I think we're now going to move on to our floral garden. So we should have our piece of paper. We can leave this to a side and we can reference our flowers, the marks we made from our flowers and the greens earlier. So now we're going to be combining both these marks into our garden. So you might have seen the reference image, which shows different gardens. You can see them. And this is some of my work. So you can see how I break it down into smaller marks and colours and really layering them up. So you can use this, or you can use your memory or imagination to create your own garden. I'm going to start off with putting in some big plants first, and then we can start off together, maybe the big components, the big plants in a plant pot, and then you can really go and get lost into your garden by the mark making. Okay, so let's clean our brush. Working towards something like this. I'm going to get a dark green to start off with on our paintbrush. I'm going to add in some long lines for some stems. So diagonally across the page, I'm going to add in a few stems. So there we are. Doesn't matter where, put them to add a few stems in. Okay, great. So next we can start to add in some of the marks we made earlier. So you could be making some fern-shaped plants, simple lines. We can add in the marks using our paintbrush in a different way. imagining leaves or hedge. I'm going to add in some more marks up the stem. And then it's up to you if you want to add in more flowers or more green. So I'm going to start off with the green first. If you know you want lots and lots of flowers, then you could start off adding flowers if you're excited for adding some flowers. So making some more green. And so looking at your marks, we're going to see which ones you like, and you can replicate that here. So it can be more abstract or more literal. Okay, I think that's a really good basis. And we can add in a plant pot. So I'm going to add in maybe an orange plant pot. So I'm going to mix together some yellow and red. My plant pot's going to go at the bottom here. So I'm making simple abstract shape for some plants. Add another one here. Yours could be pink, red, black, whatever colours you have. And we'll add in a blue pot here, a lovely dark blue. There, and I'll wash that off. So we've started by adding some plant pots and some big plants coming out. So next, we can start to add in some flowers. And this is the part where I just want you to imagine whatever your garden's going to look like. I want you to just start to really get into your painting, your process. Yours is going to look different from mine, from your neighbour, if you're working in a group. And that is the beauty of painting. Each one's different.
We've had a nice question come through from Wheatfield Unit. Hello, everyone. They say that they're really enjoying this, so thank you, Laura. Can we ask, do you have your own garden that inspires you?
That is a great question. I do have my own garden, but what really inspires me is my local park and where the gardeners are a lot more talented than I am for gardening. So I like to go there, and also just even simple things like seeing trees change colour through the window. Little moments, I find there can be a lot of joy in that. So yes, I have a garden, but it probably needs more attention.
And do you often work from your memories, or do you work from life?
So when I start a new body of work or painting, I like to have a sketchbook and I create drawings from life. And then once I'm in the studio, I like to paint from memory and really get into that association. So it's a mixture of both. So it's like we're referencing these images or your idea of a garden, and then we're letting our imagination take over. So you can use whatever colour you want to that makes you feel happy or calm. So we're starting to add in some more flowers here.
And say hello to Cove Ward. They're loving the session too. And hello to Ward 2 at Springfield Hospital, who we've been working with lately. So it's great to see you guys here too.
Amazing. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So we can work quite quickly, just like before. We can start to really layer in the marks on top of the other flowers. That will give this lovely, rich feeling of an abundant garden. So you can start adding in some. So don't worry if the paint is starting to mix on the painting. That's absolutely fine. You can create some really gorgeous results. You can see that I'm starting to add in kind of petals and flowers on top. Add in some bluebells. I find repeating the same mark very relaxing. Hope you are enjoying that part of it. Okay, so we can have a look where we are now. This, we can take a minute if you want, and be like, okay, actually maybe I do want some more greenery here. Maybe you want some more flowers. Maybe you wanted to look at your piece and be like, oh, I really like this shape actually. I really like this flower. I'm going to add that into our painting. So take a minute to have a look if you wanted to add in any other shapes. I might add in a dahlia here. It's more abstract.
So Laura, we've got about 10 minutes left. I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about your background and how you started to be a painter.
That's a great question. I always loved drawing and painting, colouring in since I was little. I always loved lots of colour, and so then I decided to study art at Manchester and drawing as well. So actually at the start I was doing a lot of drawing from life, lots of observational drawing, and I was always kind of more interested in nature and landscapes. I did do figurative work for a while and realised I was kind of more enjoying the surroundings where the person was situated. So then I decided to start to add in more colour. I was doing like a lot of oil pastel drawings, and I thought I'm going to start painting with acrylic. I tried a few different things like oil and watercolour, which are also great mediums. But I found I just loved how quickly and how immediate the results can be with acrylic. And I kind of liked not being too much in my head or overthinking it with the acrylic. So then I started painting and painting from nature a lot, and that kind of snowballed into doing commissions and exhibitions and workshops. So it's been wonderful to be able to paint and to go outside or look at images and be inspired to create my own paintings. A lot of it is to inspire joy and to like relax. I find images or being outside nature very relaxing, and that's what I wanted to tap into while painting. So I hope you're finding this session relaxing. I mean, this painting could change so many times because of the layers we're putting onto it. So at this point, it's looking very colourful. Maybe yours is more green or really lots of flowers. And the beauty of this is we can keep layering and get this lovely depth of flowers and plants. And you see close up how many colours come together. And that's the whole process that I really enjoy about painting, is how organic it can be. I wouldn't have been able to plan that I was going to put this here and this there.
We've had a nice question come through from Barbara. She says, in the beginning you were holding two tiles which were patterned a little bit like this. Is that something that they can do?
Yeah, so these are actually small canvases. So I wanted to show you the difference of painting on paper and onto canvas. So it's the same technique, and it's just lovely as an object for the canvas as well. So yeah, exactly the same thing. It's just on canvas and it's small little squares. So absolutely, if you have a canvas after this workshop, you can use the same technique, the same mark making, and create your own gardens in any size you like, and even bigger. I might start to put in a bit more detail around the back here. So I'm going to add in a bit of dark green. So you can start thinking about maybe if you want to add in some more things in your foreground at the front, more plant pots, or maybe some more trees at the back, maybe add in a tree or a hedge. So I'm doing a very rough kind of shape outline of a tree. Now don't worry if you're painting over sections. See, I'm doing here, I'm painting over part. That's all part of the process. It's having a look and thinking, actually I want more colour here for nice contrast. And I'm going to start going into some of my flower heads as before and adding the centre part. At this point, it's good to start looking at your painting as a whole and thinking, where can I add in some more details to really make this painting pop.
And Laura, Barbara just asked if you buy those canvases or whether you make them yourself.
I actually buy them pre-made. You can make them yourself, but the smaller ones, yes, you can buy. They're quite easy to come hold of. Yeah, so really accessible.
We've got some more hellos to do. So hello to Jupiter Ward, so Wellington and everyone taking part today, hello. And hello to Melanie and everyone taking part in Longreach House in Carbus and Perrin Ward. And they're really enjoying the session. So it's lovely to hear from you all.
Amazing, glad you're enjoying this session. So if you want to start adding in any darker colours or different colours to make it stand out more, you can now as well. I'm going to start to add in a red, really layering the colours. Sometimes it might mix and get a bit muddier. That's okay. To add more. Some parts it's thicker, other parts are thinner, and that creates beautiful contrast and interest while painting. I wonder how long we've got left to do on this painting. Do you know, Neve?
We've only got 2 or 3 more minutes left until the session finishes, so it's very much the final touches now, sadly.
Great, so we can start to add in those final details. And as before, if you want to move quite quickly, you can add in some more green or some quicker movements, or if you're really getting into the detail, you can really start to add in some tiny marks. I'm going to stop in 30 seconds. I'm going to have a little talk about painting what we've done. Wonderful. So that's the finishing marks. I'm going to show you, this is what we've done today. So yours is going to look very different from mine. Maybe it looks slightly similar. That is the beauty, as I said, of painting. Everyone's is unique, and you can create your own garden anytime with these paints, like on canvas, as Barbara was asking about, the smaller pieces, or we can do some more of the mark making pieces as a beautiful exercise, just relaxing and meditating on nature and on gardens. So you can see the variety of marks that we've made and colours. Wonderful. Add in our last marks if you like. As I said, you can keep growing with these garden pieces. This starts off similar to this, and then you can see that as it dries, the layers, you can really add in other elements and details, like even a greenhouse or some more plant pots. And as it dries, the colours will slightly change as well.
They look absolutely beautiful. Honestly, Laura, thank you so much for an absolutely wonderful session.
It's been such a pleasure to be part of this session today, so thank you so much for having me.
So as you all know, we are Hospital Rooms. We're a London-based mental health arts charity, and we look to transform NHS mental health hospitals with extraordinary art. The Digital Art School is such an important aspect of the work that we do, because it enables us to make creative activities available to many more people and to build a really, really special community. So thank you for being part of that. You can find a library of all our past projects and all the previous Digital Art School sessions on hospital-rooms.com, where you'll find a variety of sessions with leading artists like Laura today. From squid ink printing to typography design and fashion illustration and so many more in between, please do have a look and subscribe to the YouTube channel. They're all absolutely free. We also have the Digital Art School newsletter, which keeps you informed of all the upcoming workshops, the materials that you'll need, and any downloads you might need. You can sign up for those at hospital-rooms.com as well. We also love when you share your artworks with us, and we love to receive your submissions, and you can do that by visiting our website. You click on the Digital Art School tab at the top of the page, click gallery, and then there's a big button where you can upload artworks, and we really love to see what everybody does, and we would love to see the gardens that you have painted today. Next week we will be back with another exciting session with a brilliant fashion designer called Phoebe English, and she's going to be making sunshine garlands. So I really hope you return. I hope you tell everyone about it, and that we see you all very, very soon. It's a huge thank you from all of us to Laura for that lovely session today. A huge thank you to all of you for taking part, and we hope to see you all again soon. Thank you very much, and take care and goodbye.